Now more than ever, innovative technologies are fueling change and sparking new ways of thinking. Collaboration between corporations and startups is key to staying at the forefront of these trends. However, finding the right startups can be expensive, time-consuming, and ineffective. But Plug and Play is here to help. As a corporate partner, you will gain access to a whole ecosystem of innovation. Discover startups that meet your tech interests. Stay updated on the latest trends and network with industry peers. We will help you during every stage of your innovation journey, no matter where you are and where you want to go. Get in touch today.
Open innovation is the understanding that in order to really be disruptive, to be game-changing, and to be innovative, we can't just rely on our internal knowledge and our resources alone. We need to collaborate with people, with teams, and the consumers who are outside of our organization and work together with them to create something new.
For us, open innovation is the idea of reaching beyond our company's internal knowledge and resources to help drive our long-term innovation priorities.
If we want to truly be innovative and disruptive, we need to keep our finger on the pulse of innovation. This means we need to have various touch points and sources, resources outside of our organization. We need to stay on top of new products, on top of new services, new models, processes, and of course, the consumers. These touch points help shape our internal initiatives and development plans.
The world is changing at a rapid pace and the food landscape is constantly evolving with it. So developing strategic partnerships that help us to gain a pulse on these changes that, let's say, are expected to take place over the next 10 plus years helps to ensure that our innovation pipeline is evolving with the times.
Startups often have an agility in ways of working and an ability and passion to focus on technology that can't be matched by a corporate entity. We often have the resources and the know-how that can nicely supplement the startups. The real magic is when we put these two groups together to drive mutual success.
Well, for one, startups unlock technological solutions that are of strategic importance for driving our innovation pipeline of the future. But depending on the situation, we've leveraged startups to help us achieve our near-in innovation objectives and have also used them to develop a better understanding of what's possible in the long term.
Working with Plug and Play is one of the ways that we stay connected to the startups and emerging technology community. Plug and Play is a great network of companies at different stages of development and across a variety of industry categories. Having access to these companies through a centralized platform is extremely useful for us.
Plug and Play has been a critical enabler of open innovation at Tyson, and this is achieved primarily through the strong class of startups that participate in each batch. From our experience, the startups that come into Plug and Play's ecosystem are strategically linked to our innovation goals, which really helps to set up our long-term platform.
The most important thing we've learned is that you get out what you put in. The more involved we've become, the better the experience has been. As I reflect on our involvement to date and how much success we've seen, I can't help but get excited about what's in store for the future.
My advice would be to take advantage of every service that Plug and Play has to offer. Throughout the year, there are several programs, seminars, networking opportunities, et cetera, that are available to learn more about emerging trends and new startups. So there's a lot of great content that can generate new thinking and inspire innovation.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Spring Summit. My name is Brian Tetrud. I'm the Global Director of our food program here at Plug and Play. So this is our ninth batch now for the food program and my 4th year at Plug and Play. So at this point, I feel that we've become an established food program. So for this week's summit, we have a new platform. It's called Attentify. This is our first event using the new system, so we hope you can all learn with us. So I'll spend a good amount of time going over kind of some of the ways to take advantage of the platform. So to access the to access the agenda and pitch order, You can go to our schedule page by clicking the clock icon on the menu bar on the left. And let's see, I think the slides are, I think you're a little ahead, yeah, so to click on the agenda, you can access the pitch order, and you can, on the schedule page, you can click the clock icon on the menu bar on the left. I'll make my opening remarks brief, but about 10 minutes in, I will introduce our keynote speaker, who will spend a little more time going over a presentation with you all for about 30 minutes, and then he will introduce the main event, our startups. So I think the next slide is the agenda. You can kind of see it. Okay. So, yeah, it looks like we got a little tied up here on the slides. But we're going to split up the pitches into 2 sessions. So the first 8 will be pitching each for 3 minutes. Then we'll have a panel discussion with our startups discussing the future of food, a networking break, and then our final pitch session. So after the startup pitch session, we'll have an award ceremony with some brief closing remarks prior to some virtual networking. So now we have the housekeeping items. So okay. We have some startup. Yeah. So basically, they're 3 minute. It's just some housekeeping items. Basically, the pitches are each for 3 minutes. So please be aware that there will be no questions. We'll have a Q&A at the startup booths during the networking session. So please use the community feature to send direct messages and exchange contact information. Now here for the startup booths, so this is the right slide. To access the startup booths, please click on the presentation icon on the left-hand side of the screen, the second icon from the bottom. Here you can find a list of all the startups presenting, and you can see more information on the companies and get in touch. Excellent. And the Meet Now feature. You have the option to either send a direct message or have a one-on-one private video call with the startup using the Meet Now feature. Anyone with a green video icon means that they are available to video chat. So all you need to do is click on that icon and wait for them to pick up. If their video icon is gray, it means that they are currently busy or on another call. We also are providing the Meet Now feature for our corporate partners. So to enable this Meet Now feature, simply click on your profile on the upper right-hand corner and turn your icon to the right so it turns green. So the last piece of information I want to go over is our community feature. This is where you can see all the attendees who have registered for our event. If you'd like to reach out to somebody in this event, please feel free to search for their profile and send them a direct message through this feature. So thank you for bearing with me. That was all I had for Attendify. We hope you enjoy taking advantage of this platform. I hope it's a valuable tool to connect with everyone while everything is virtual. But keep in mind, we will be going back to in-person, don't worry. Now to our food program. So as you probably know, Plug and Play has a large global footprint spanning over 30 locations across the world. Each office has its own team, partners and technology focus. So to learn more about any of these offices, please reach out to your Plug and Play point of contact. Each one of them operates rather independently, but all have a similar structure behind investing in startups and running events. So on the left-hand side here, you can see the main event today. These are the startups graduating today. All 15 of these companies will be presenting. So to give you a little detail on kind of where they fit. So half of these companies today are related to ingredient technology. That's really the big focus of our program. 2 of these companies are focused on biotech and personalized nutrition, 2 on marketing analytics, and 3 on food packaging. On the right-hand side, you can see the corporations that participate in this program and really make it possible. Many of them are large brands you may be familiar with. However, we have a couple of new names. So I'll just briefly mention them. ADM has recently joined our program from Chicago. So welcome, guys. It's great to have you here and great seeing you in Chicago. ICL will be making an announcement as well. They're the first Israeli company to join Plug and Play, so very excited about this. And lastly, just this week, Carry Ingredients has decided to join our program. So, just last week, yeah. So we'll be making an official announcement shortly. So most of these companies here you see are food manufacturers, but their interests span really from farm to fork. So it's a pretty broad program, and we really want to represent the interests of our partners. So here you can see the focus areas for our program, and these are really the focus areas for the partners that we represent. We address these technology challenges twice per year with our anchor board meetings. So we use these technology focus areas to decide which companies will be a part of our selection process for our program. So for example, that's exactly what we did for this current batch, is we went through a large list of companies, technology focus areas, and narrowed it down to the ones that were most relevant to the interests of our partners. So since our last board meeting, our program focus has shifted slightly towards packaging materials, but ingredient innovation is still very central to our program. So here you can see the global footprint of our food program. Each location you see here in green are locations that have an accelerator running and a team on the ground. I'll take some time to give some updates on several of these offices. So the first program I'd like to talk about, of course, is Chicago. That's our latest expansion in the US. Our US food program now spans 2 locations between Silicon Valley and Chicago. So currently all of our Chicago events are virtual, but once the world opens up, we'll run events between the 2 locations. We'll still have expos out in Silicon Valley, but we'll have a lot of the other events and board meetings out in Chicago. So there'll be an opportunity definitely to travel and visit both locations, and we're really excited to move out there and make it a big part of our program. I just spent 2 weeks out there, and we identified a potential location for our next office in the West Loop. So we're excited to get back to in-person events and hopefully run this in-person launch event soon. One last piece on Chicago. We may bring 1 or 2 other divisions with us to Chicago. So our financial services and retail divisions are also exploring a launch with us in Chicago. Now for Fargo, we've been running an ag tech accelerator in Fargo for over a year now, and we've accelerated over 36 startups. The big update here is that we have a new director, Jamie Hogarth, and he'll be running this program. For those of you unfamiliar, this program is dedicated to largely autonomous farming technologies and has 4 key partners that make it possible: OCP, CHS, Bremer Bank, and Microsoft. So it's been a great program. It was great to go out there when it was getting started, and it's good to see the team kind of maturing and taking strides in the right direction. Okay, Topeka. So our office in Topeka is dedicated to animal health. It's central to the Kansas Animal Health Corridor. We focus on topics relevant to animal breeding, feeding, and health. We just brought on 2 new hires to this team a couple months ago and are in the middle of our first batch. So we look forward to announcing some more details soon with their upcoming expo. And on China, so our China program has grown a lot since our launch last year. We now have 6 partner corporations for this food and ag tech program. Some of the names include BASF, Mars, CJ Group, and Mondelez. Our next event will be our Nanjing Ag Tech event in July. And then in August, we will host a carbon neutrality event. So if you know Wen, please reach out to her for more details, and we can get you connected with this program. So some of you may have heard about our European Food and Ag program. We just had our big launch event. It's definitely the big focus for our global expansion efforts to getting a food program in Europe. We ran our first event last week announcing this launch, and the actual launch event will happen. The actual launch of the program will happen in September this year. So the office will run events across multiple locations, starting with Amsterdam and Paris, eventually involving other PNP hubs across Northern Europe. It'll have a similar focus on startups as our existing US food program, but it'll have a geographic preference for startups based in Europe. So over the next 3 months, we'll confirm the founding members for this program, and that will eventually determine the technology focus area. So we'll be making that announcement in September with the beginning of the program. But if you'd like to learn more, participate in the event, or in the program in general, you can send Julie or me an email, and we'll get you connected and give you some more information. Okay, so I'm excited to announce our keynote speaker today, Dave Donnan. Dave is a very experienced and knowledgeable food industry veteran experience at A.T. Kearney and Northwestern, and is always on the move, speaking at events, providing perspectives on food and consumer products in general. I got to spend some time with Dave 2 weeks ago in Streeterville, a neighborhood out in Chicago, and he really is brimming with knowledge. And over dinner, I did get a lecture on some interesting topics, including hot and cold hog slaughter, which I'll never forget. So please welcome Dave Donnan.
Hello, I'm Dave Donnan, and it is a pleasure to be able to speak to you at the Plug and Play Food Spring Summit. I've been in the food industry my whole career, and I've run food plants, I've run companies. I've spent a lot of time consulting to some of the largest food manufacturers, food retailers, restaurant chains in the world. And for the last several years, I've spent my time working with venture capital, startups, entrepreneurs, looking at food tech and ag tech, working with accelerators, incubators, and just getting involved in all the new innovation in food. My presentation today, I'm going to talk a bit about some of the changing behaviors in the food and consumers, but also the impact that COVID has had and how some of these behaviors have changed. Some have accelerated and some have nearly stopped altogether. So just give me a moment while I share my slides with you. And let me just set up the screen share here. There we go. And there we are. Okay. So my topic is called Affluence to Influence. And it really looks at how consumers' behavior is shifting and their values are impacting the entire food system. We've looked at all different aspects of how things have changed from the last several decades to a real influence on consumer behavior, and then how COVID has accelerated some of these changes as well. When we think about it, all of us have changed our behavior in the last several years. Now, the change in behavior has been subtle, but think about it. We used to buy our eggs cheapest by the dozen. Now we buy omega-3 eggs or cage-free eggs, or we look for organic eggs. We used to, when someone asked us, where did that food come from? We'd say, oh, it came from Kraft, or it came from Kellogg, or it came from Nestle. Now they want to know is, what farm did it come from? What were the agricultural practices used? How did it come to me as well? And at college, I'm sure all of you looked for free food. Now we look for food that is free from antibiotics, free from artificial flavors, free from artificial colors. We've moved from buying food based on value to purchasing food based on values. And that shift to values is food has become an extension of our personality, extension of our culture, an extension of our ethics and values. And all of these have changed in the last several years. Let's go back and look historically. Consumers and the mass market as we know it really thrived for decades based on three key assumptions: affluence, seduction, and scale. Affluence is that we wanted to be richer. We all wanted new cars. We wanted to wear fashionable clothes. We were trying to keep up with the Joneses next door. And seduction, the big food companies, the big brands, they knew that they could seduce us into their brands by promising newer, quicker, faster, shinier. And they looked at ways of using persuasion and influence through advertising to get after us. And finally, scale. In order to succeed, you had to be big. You had to have large manufacturing footprint. You had to have large distribution network, lots of salespeople, and a huge marketing budget. All those were necessary in order for the consumer products industry and the food industry to thrive for many, many decades. But all that has shifted. And the mass market today is fundamentally different in three different principles: trust, influence, and personalization. Trust in this age of information and transparency was where a single person with a phone can witness and publish any incident or experience. Influence is about how others, not advertising, not promotions, but other ways of how people influence our brand choices and our food choices. And finally, personalization, how the market of one, the one-to-one marketing, how I want to be seen as my individual choices, and how brands and food companies are dealing with that. Let's look at each one of these in a bit more detail and see how it's influenced this shift in behavior. Let's start with trust. I think Steve Jobs said it best when he said, a brand is simply trust. When you think about it, we buy a product for its brand name because that brand name represents something around quality, around taste, around price, around the whole ability to continually make a product in the same way. And this is really what trust is about, how we can have that level of intimacy between products and consumers. But trust has eroded. If we look at a recent survey, consumers now believe their purchasing decisions have a greater impact than their vote. Consumers have shifted their trust relationship to less about being told what to trust to what they believe they can trust. In the case of this chart here, we see that if we ask consumers, and particularly millennials, which has a greater impact on the society, their purchase decisions or their voting decisions? You find that 40% of millennials believe that their purchase decisions have a bigger impact than their vote. But think about it. We've seen it over the last several years as we see more corporate social responsibility come to the forefront and the so-called cancel culture come into play. As consumers realize they can influence society, they can influence decision by using their wallet and their purchase decisions to change behavior. And we've also seen this impact with around consumers' choice around the size of companies. Most consumers like to deal with small companies, the small brands, the small farmer, the farmer's market, the local community. 68% have some confidence and 21% have complete confidence in those smaller companies and the smaller brands, innovative brands, because they believe they are better aligned with their values. Compare that to large corporations, where 38% have very little confidence and 15% have no confidence. And we found that this trust relationship has shifted in large. Now, the pandemic put large companies back into the forefront as consumers went back to their habitual patterns of buying comfort food, buying brands that they knew, buying products that they recognized. But as we see coming out of the COVID pandemic, this whole idea around getting back to small brands, consumers, and innovation, farmers markets, other things, consumers have an affinity to really look at localization as an important part of their brand decisions. The third area, that third principle, is influence. And here we have Jeff Bezos, who talks about if you make customers unhappy in the physical world, they may reach out to 6 of their friends. But if you make a customer unhappy on the internet, they can reach 6,000. That whole area of viral videos and marketing, the ability to do guerrilla marketing by going after social media and influence, these are all having a profound effect. And in fact, influence has overtaken persuasion as the way we see new ideas and new thoughts and what we should buy. We look at consumers today, 70% of millennials are influenced by their peers, according to a recent survey, and 60% of consumers are influenced by social media when shopping. They look at Facebook, they look at Instagram, they look at Twitter, and get their recommendations from those sources, not from television ads, not from print media. And 50% of consumers take pictures of their food. I'm sure all of us have done it. In fact, chefs at restaurants have gone from plating their food for taste and texture to plating their food for Instagrammability, so that we can take our pictures and post them online. And that has influenced how chefs and restaurants now are promoting some of their classic and signature dishes. So who influences our diets? We would think that nutritionists and dietitians, with all their knowledge about all of the different aspects about metabolic rates and vitamins and minerals and what we should eat right, would be the influencers. But people listen to nutritionists and dietitians, but don't necessarily follow them all the time. Where do we get our influence? Our family, our mothers, our friends. We tend to look to our friends and family for most of our decisions, particularly around new brands and new experiences. Sometimes we'll go to our doctor in our annual physical and they'll recommend, oh, you should be eating less carbohydrates or more fats or less sugar. But remember, doctors only have about a week's worth of nutrition training over their 4 years of medical training. And so although they have a knowledge, it's not as depth of knowledge as we may think. Many of us just go to our fitness trainer or our yoga instructor. They give us recommendations on how to lose weight, how to get trimmer, how to be, fitter and have more vigor. And these are all aspects that we see from there as well. But probably where we get most of our information about diets and where we should go is on the internet. We look to the internet for information on recipes, on diets, on how we should combine foods, on what new foods are there. So between our family and friends and the internet, we get the majority of our information today from those sources. As a result, consumers are really shifting to an influencer relationship. Influencer marketing has existed for some time with celebrity endorsements, but the real-time social media influencers are a new phenomenon. There are countless food bloggers and nutrition influencers in the market today, all making money from advertising and scaling their audiences. Here's a list of a few of them that I've seen as well. But probably the most notorious of the influencers in the food industry is the famous food babe. So here's a sign for Anheuser-Busch. The beer companies have always been reluctant to show their ingredients. In fact, they never really had a nutritional label or an ingredient label, how beer was made, what hops were used, what grains and barleys, etc. And in fact, the Center for Science in Public Interest tried for several decades to convince beer companies to put some sort of nutrition or ingredient labeling with their beer, but to no avail. Then one day, within 24 hours and 43,000 signatures, a petition went online from Vani Hari, also known as the food babe. And within 24 hours, was able to convince Anheuser-Busch to publicly reveal the list of ingredients in its beer. That is influence marketing. And that's how it influences the food industry as well. And we're seeing that today as more and more brand companies are using influencers as part of their marketing. We're going after social media marketing rather than the traditional marketing we knew a decade earlier. The third of those principles as well as personalization. And Seth Godin is a marketing author and himself an influencer who describes personalization as a way to interpret human behavior and develop products and services to meet individual needs. Much of this level of personalization could only be achieved with advancements in personal technology and data, which has occurred. In fact, if you look at technology, it's part of our everyday lives. We spend over 6 hours per day, each one of us, 6 hours per day in front of a screen. It may be a PC screen or a tablet, but most likely it's our phones. And our phones, in fact, have become extensions of our bodies. In fact, what we call a Homo sapien 2.0. It is now our communication device, it's our navigation device, it's our memory, and it's our intelligence as well, as it constantly releases dopamine into our brain through the pings and buzzes when we get a Facebook notice or a new tweet comes along or somebody sends us a text message. Those releases of endorphins trigger our brain to say, what is it? Let's look, I gotta find it. And so technology is providing that feedback mechanism that not only gives us the information, but provides us with something that changes the way we behave with that information. And we're getting even more of that through sensor technology. We're now seeing embedded sensors and wearables throughout. Wearables like our Fitbit or iWatch, but it also could be our Nest thermometer at home, which is actually giving us feedback on the temperatures and adjusting temperatures based on our activity. Or it could be through shared transportation mechanisms, or through our even cooking utensils like sous vide technologies, which provide us feedback. All of these feedback and wearables we're seeing growing at 27% compounded annual growth rate a year. Wearable markets, it's a huge market, and sensors are becoming cheaper and cheaper, and they are becoming more entwined to our business. Not only just on risks, but we're seeing new blood sugar types of devices that will sensor and measure our blood sugar, give it to our watch through stickable sensors that we can put on our body. And we're seeing these things actually influencing our behavior. Think about it. Anybody of you that has a Fitbit or smartwatch and you constantly track your steps, have you ever walked up to your front door of your house or apartment, looked at your Fitbit and thought, oh, I've got 9,500 steps. And what do? You turn around and you walk the additional 500 steps in order to get those 10,000 steps threshold that you wanted. That's called a nudge. It's a digital nudge. And we're getting those constantly from various sources. And all of this data on those digital nudges and the information from the wearables and sensors and the information from our smartphones and PCs and tablets is all being collected and used by Google and Facebook and Amazon and other companies to really put together machine learning algorithms to better predict what our behavior will be like. In fact, now if you look at artificial intelligence, already influences our food choices. Think about it. You Uber Eats or Grubhub or OpenTable are all using the same algorithms and machine learning devices that Netflix uses to pick out our movies that we like to see. So as Netflix looks at all the movies we liked or disliked, it predicts with better accuracy what movie we would like next. Well, similarly, OpenTable or Grubhub or DoorDash can do the same thing based on your picks. And so artificial intelligence is actually helping us in influencing our food choices on a day-to-day basis. And this data is being collected and feedback is creating a feedback loop with data and algorithms and information, which is going to have profound effects. Data is now our currency. So think about this. We get deeper behavioral understanding through personalization, so it better understands what I like or dislike. That information then becomes embedded in the predictive analytics that give me the choices that I will look at next, and it improves the product targeting. So I find that service that I use, whether it's a menu service, a door delivery service, a film service like Netflix, it improved the targeting. It seems to fit me. It seems to know me better than I know myself. And from that, I get loyalty and higher switching costs. It becomes more difficult to get off that platform because it knows me so well and it's getting all this information. And because it gets this information, it feeds back again into deeper personal understanding and behavioral understanding and personalization. So we're just getting deeper and deeper into this machine learning AI algorithm that understands us through sensor data, phone data, and all of this is changing the way we eat and how we choose our food. Now, all of this was disrupted with COVID, when all of our behaviors changed dramatically as we saw the shutdown of restaurants, the shutdown of theaters, having to go into isolation and being at home and getting home delivery and pick up at curb and all of these things, which we had done a little bit of, but we're not used to. As we start to come out of COVID, as the number of vaccines increase, as we get more and more of it across the United States, we're seeing some post-COVID behavior that is starting to stick. Some behaviors are going to bounce back. Leisure travel, for example. People want to go on vacation. They want to get away. They've been stuck in their apartment and houses for over a year. Leisure travel may increase, but business travel may actually be muted as companies realize that they can do away with all the travel budget that they had in the past. And so more of these conferences and meetings may actually be curtailed to some degree, but leisure travel should increase. Eating out will also increase as well, bounce back as restaurants start to open up again. And we see that as people want to get out and try new things, try new restaurants. Some new behaviors got embedded with us during COVID, e-grocery, online ordering. We did it before, but we're doing it a lot more now. And now we're used to it, and we're used to home delivery, curb pickup, ordering ahead and pickup, all of those things. And virtual healthcare, telemedicine has also become much more ingrained, much more acceptable by consumers. Some behaviors may not come back. We may never go back to the office 5 days a week. We'll go back to the office, sure, but it may be 2 days a week, 3 days a week, and work from home a couple of days. We may work a week at the office and a week at home because we now recognize that working from home actually works, and the technology in most cases does work as well. But we still want to get back to the office where we can. And so we're seeing office layouts and office buildings change as a result of that. We've also learned a few things from COVID. One is nutrition and immunity are important. We all took our vitamin D and other vitamins in order to increase our immunity. And we realized that COVID-19 really means the 19 pounds we gained because of all the comfort food and pizza and pasta and snacks we were eating. So nutrition and immunity are becoming very important to consumers. Similarly, because so much product was brought to home, we saw food waste like we never saw before, and packaging waste as well, as we had meal kits coming in with their styrofoam and packaging and all the extra bags for takeout. So consumers are much more attuned to food waste and packaging waste, and are looking at ways to reduce waste in general because they see the amount of it going out. So all of these things with the behavioral changes of our trust, of our influence and personalization, as well as the post-COVID consumer, are really leading to some food trends that we see coming out in the next year or so. And these food trends are really, I've broken down into 4 broad influences. The first one being health and wellness. We're going to be looking at immunity and nutrition. We want to eat healthier. We're looking for foods that are going to help us in health and help us not get sick, help us be more vigorous. And so foods that are with probiotics, superfoods, fermented foods, immune boosting foods are going to be all important, as well as supplements, vitamins, minerals, functional ingredients. And we're seeing the growth of plant-based meats, plant-based milks, plant-based cheeses as well, as consumers are looking for what they perceive as healthier foods, but also with an environmental and sustainability focus as well. The second main influence will be on local and community. Consumers want to get back to helping out local restaurants, their local community that they saw hurt so badly during the lockdowns. And so local and community becomes a real force, a real driver for consumers. On a national level, it's even seen as well as we're seeing food security becoming a topic of governments around the world. Singapore, for example, realized that they did not make much of their own food. They imported it from Indonesia and Malaysia and Japan and China, have started to look at how they're going to grow, maybe with vertical farms, more of their food so they can become much more food secure. So we're going to see things like breakfast at home, as consumers like to still have home breakfast, which was a nice meal together. Modified home cooking. We've learned new skills. Although we don't want to cook as much as before, we still have enjoyed cooking a bit more. Community markets, country of origin is going to be important, and community festivals will all grow as well. As we come out of the COVID as well, we're going to see a level of exuberance and discovery. Like in the 1920s, we had the roaring 20s after the 1918 pandemic, we may see a renewed roaring 20s after the 2019 pandemic and the 2020 pandemic. What we may see is an exuberance of experience and discovery, trying new things, getting out and seeing things. Vacations are going to be, people are going to be looking for new places to go to see new things after being locked down for so long. So think of it in terms of food as new menu concepts, innovative ingredients, new taste experiences, new food experiences, and taste profiles. Restaurants are going to respond to this as well as having a lot more innovative food menu items to try to bring consumers back to their restaurants. And finally, as I mentioned with the food and packaging waste, there'll be much more focus on sustainability, as we're going to be looking for clean label, ingredients. Animal welfare is important as well. ESG investments, environmental, social, and governance investments. We're seeing large companies having ESG sustainability targets, as well as with venture capital and private equity as well. Upcycled foods will become important, and innovative packaging will be important as well. So all of these things are going to be trends we're going to see as we come out of COVID. The unfortunate part is we're not going to come out of COVID evenly. Around the world, we're seeing great disparities around vaccine applications and the implications of COVID. The United States, Israel, and the UK are all coming out of COVID rather quickly. But as we see in India, and then also Asia, Indonesia, Malaysia, Vietnam, very low vaccine levels right now as they try to get the vaccines. So around the world, there's going to be an unevenness to the recovery. We may see it much faster in North America, but it's going to still constrain as the world still comes to grips throughout 2021 to this pandemic. So this all brings us to the new food consumer. What do they look like? Well, they're concerned about well-being and health as they want to look at better immunity, better nutrition. They want to know how products are made and where they came from. So that transparency is going to be important. They're going to be less brand loyal, trusting their friends more than they will trust ads. And they'll also look to influencers and social media. They're going to seek out new products, new tastes, new experiences as they come out of the pandemic, and really look at a much more vigorous approach to food. They're going to be comfortable with shopping online and comfortable with home delivery. And they're actively going to be seeking information. If I'm going to be spending 6 hours on my screen every day, I'm going to be looking at information about your product, where it was made, how it was made, what are your values, and all of this together. So all of this is going to create a new environment for food. I'm personally optimistic as I see some new vigor, new vitality, new discovery, new exuberance, but within the constraints of an uneven recovery from COVID. So right now, I want to welcome you all to Chicago and to welcome Plug and Play, its sponsors, its startups, its mentors. Welcome to Chicago. This is a great place to be if you're in the food industry, whether you're in food ingredients, food manufacturing, retail, restaurant, food supplies, investment. We've got it all here in Chicago. Now, most of you who have not been from Chicago, probably this is your picture of Chicago. You know, that cold February winter, blowing wind. Yes, there are certain brief moments in Chicago where this is the case, but mostly Chicago is a bright, very much a community environment, a vibrant food city. In fact, many consider Chicago to be the food hub of North America, where many of the food systems, food entrepreneurs, food companies are headquartered. If you look at it, we've got a center for the food industry with many of the leading brands and food companies here. Companies like US Foods, Mondelez, Kraft Heinz, ADM, McDonald's, ConAgra, Ingredion, Griffith, Tyson, all have headquarters here in Chicago, which create a great ecostructure for food innovation and food thought. And in fact, the food innovators also come to Chicago because we have great startup companies, incubators, accelerators, 1871, a technology accelerator. We've got Naturally Chicago, which is all around the natural and healthy food movement here in the Midwest. And then we've seen recent startups that have grown big in Chicago. Grubhub, RX Bars, Vital Protein, Home Chef, Farmer's Fridge, all offering innovative and new products to the marketplace. And in addition, we have accelerators and incubators here. The Hatchery is one, the home to, it's a 65,000 square foot kitchen facility specifically designed for startups and new ventures. It has commercial kitchens as well as individual production spaces for companies as they start up. In addition, we have the Good Food Accelerator, which focuses on healthy food concepts and sponsors a pitch slam every year to find the best food companies and startups around healthy foods, nutritious foods, natural foods as well. So all in all, I want to welcome Plug and Play to Chicago as I end my presentation, and a very warm welcome to all of you as well. Come visit Chicago, come visit our food city. I think it'll be a great opportunity to meet each one of you and see you as well. So thank you very much. And I look forward to having a chance to meet with you and hopefully in person at some point in time in the future. So thank you, and let you go on with your summit. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dave. Great presentation, and I had a great time in Chicago 2 weeks ago. There are a lot of resources there, so we look forward to participating more with them. So to host our startup pitch session, I would like to introduce Michelle. She's the co-director of our food program and senior ventures associate for our food and ag tech programs here at Plug and Play. Welcome, Michelle.
Thank you so much, Brian. So like everyone said, I'll be your MC for today's event. So hi, everyone, and welcome again to our expo for Food Batch 9. So like Brian mentioned at the beginning, we have a pretty packed schedule. There will be 15 startup pitches today, split across 2 different sections, and they'll be bookending an insightful panel about the future of food. So please remember to optimize the networking features on a 10 to 5 if you really hear a pitch that piques your interest. So without further ado, let's kick off the pitches with our first startup, BranchOut. BranchOut is the first and only company that can make shelf-stable food products from avocados. So please welcome Eric.
Hi, my name is Eric Healy. I'm the founder and CEO of BranchOut Foods. At BranchOut, we discovered a problem in the natural food industry. There were no avocado-based snack products or really any shelf-stable products made out of avocados. We found that there's a big problem, a big technology problem here as to the reason. Avocados themselves are very sensitive to oxygen. Most consumers have that experience at home. They're also really sensitive to freezing and excessive heat. So that kind of eliminates all technologies that are currently out there, like freeze drying and air drying. We later found out that bananas are very similar. They're not quite as sensitive, but they have some similar issues, and that's why there haven't really been any banana products on the market. So we found a new dehydration technology. We licensed it exclusively. And then we also developed some of our own technology that goes in hand with that to produce what you see here is the first and only true avocado chip snack and avocado powder. The market size, or the why are we doing this? Avocados, we think, really fit into all the trends that are out there right now. The biggest being plant-based. That's one of the fastest growing, if not the fastest growing trends in the food industry in the US. And then avocados specifically are just growing exponentially in terms of the fresh produce. So they really go hand in hand with all the trends like keto, plant-based, as I mentioned, just people trying to lower sugar, carbohydrates, and move more towards a good fat diet. So this is what we're really excited about. This is our snack line, or part of our snack line. So these are real avocado chips. We actually take a real thin slice of an avocado. As you see here, we dry it with our technology, and you get a crispy avocado with perfect color, perfect nutrition and flavor. And then we season it with these 3 seasonings. So first avocado of its kind, avocado chip of its kind. No one else has ever done this. Here's how we compare to other dehydration methods. They just don't work, as I mentioned. And then the bananas, so there's, everyone knows or has had the kind of fried plantain chip type of items, but they have oil in them. You really can't just do a pure banana product like this. So this is the first and only, and you can see by the color here, it's just an amazing product. It actually has a kind of a marshmallow-like chewy texture to it. And you can see here, the bottom right is what an air-dried banana looks like. It's just dark brown. It doesn't look good and doesn't taste very good compared to our color there. So really compelling banana products. And then last but not least, we have our pineapple chip that is just pure pineapple as well, and a really intense flavor. And then we have a powder line as well. We found some really great uses for our technology here. Of course, the avocado powder is first of its kind. So we really solved the consumer problems with avocado at home. So this is perfectly ripe avocado that is shelf stable up to a year. You can just add water to it. That's pretty much it on the product. We have some really great opportunities in front of us and traction behind us. We have some really great club opportunities. We got approved for a national buy at Costco and just finished a successful rotation at Sam's Club and talking about going back in a broader, into more stores there. And then of course, we're in all the natural distributors across the country at this point, and a bunch of regional independent chains as well. And we've only been on the market for about 12 months. So pretty amazing traction here. That's pretty much it. We got a great team behind us. Please reach out if you have any questions. We'd love to talk to you. Thank you, everyone, and appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Eric. I always have a problem with the browning bananas and avocados going bad, so super excited to see your products on the shelf. So up next is Phynova. So Phynova is using plants to create proven health benefit solutions and commercializing these natural ingredients globally into food, beverage, and supplement applications. So please welcome Wouter.
Hi, my name is Wouter Klaarhout. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at Phynova, a UK biotech scale-up. What we specialize in is creating unique healthcare products based from plants. And we do this by having deep know-how of traditional Chinese medicine, using then modern day science to commercialize extracts from plants. We want to focus today on one specific output of this efficient discovery engine, which is Reducose. Reducose, currently backed by 6 clinical trials and counting, also patented. And what Reducose is a water extract of Morus alba, or white mulberry leaves, widely known across Asia as healthy. And what Reducose does uniquely is a small 250 milligram dose will reduce the sugar and carbohydrate digestion by up to 40%. So if you think about blood sugar, think about a roller coaster. Whatever you eat during the day will make your blood sugar levels go up and down like a roller coaster. but the quality of what you eat will determine whether your roller coaster ride is a wild and rocky one or a smooth and slow one. Reducose basically turns your wild roller coaster into a smooth one, a healthier one. So first of all, you see this tremendous effect. Post-meal blood sugar response is reduced by up to 40%. Compare that to natural alternatives. We do it with a much smaller dose and much more significantly. Very interestingly though, when you look at continuous glucose monitors, such as this little device, you can actually see the effect of Reducose immediately. And the breaking news is that this technology is becoming mainstream. Apple, Fitbit, Samsung, all of their next iteration watches will have continuous glucose monitoring or CGM technology inside, enabling you to see the Reducose effect. We also tested Reducose across a wide range of applications, food, beverages, supplements, you name it, it will work. And next to the science and next to the patents, we also have done a lot of work on regulatory clearances. So we have approvals in most of the major markets, and that is why Reducose can meaningfully benefit the health of about 1 billion consumers worldwide. So what do consumers get? Well, first of all, they will feel better and more balanced. They don't have to worry so much about hidden carbs and hidden sugars, especially when eating out or ordering in. And basically, we're empowering them. We're giving them back control over what happens to their blood sugar levels in response to foods. And they can see that it works immediately and feel that it works immediately. Think of the CGM tech. Currently, we have about 100 customers plus across the world that are looking, investigating, working with Reducose already or buying Reducose already. And we welcome you to contact us. My contact details are here to work together on projects with Reducose. Finally, a last slide on a few observations of how the plug-and-play process has been so far. It's been a very interesting journey. Lots of networking opportunities. We've had a lot of contacts already, leading to 3 NDAs, 2 deep dives, and now first partner that is going to really test Reducose. So we're actually also multiplying this experience by not just working in the US, we're also opening a chapter in Asia. And last thing I would say is that the plug and play process is a very good acid test to see if you can tell the story, the value proposition in a crisp and succinct way. So thank you very much, Plug and Play, and looking forward to connecting with you, dear partners. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Water, and it's been a pleasure working with you as well. So our next startup is FermBiotics. FermBiotics is a company developing natural fermented seaweed and plant products that support gut health. I'll let Thomas take it away.
Hi, my name is Thomas Petersen, and I'm the CEO of FermBiotics. FermBiotics is a Danish biotech company that's on a mission to support and improve gut health around the world. We are a team of R&D experts from the biotech and feed industry. We hold together with fermentation experts a number of IPs, some granted and some pending. We do our development together with fermentation experts. So FermBiotics is a spin-off from fermentation experts, and we have proof of concept in the feed industry. So fermentation expert owns European Protein, and European Protein has 3 plants around the world, 1 in Denmark, 1 in Ukraine, and 1 in the United States. Together, those 3 plants have a capacity of approximately 8,000 tons per month. In the United States, we have a marketing agreement with Land O'Lakes Purina, and in Denmark and Ukraine, we sell to a number of integrators and compound feeders. We are eating too much fat and sugar, and that leads to a leaky gut, which results in IBD, diabetes, and too high cholesterol. We have developed a fermented ingredient that consists of seaweed and rapeseed. It helps restoring the gut barrier and preventing the leaky gut. It also improves the immune defense, and it reduces low-grade inflammation. The market for diabetic 2 and pre-diabetic is rather large, and for only $30 a year, we can help your customers reduce the blood sugar levels to a normal level. And the same for people with a high cholesterol level. We can also, for $30 a year, help reduce their cholesterol levels to a normal level. In regards to the pets, which have the same diseases as humans, basically, we can achieve the same for only $15 a year. We are looking for a partner for application and distribution, and we are also looking for a partner or investment for a supplement for business to consumer based on individual microbiome data. We are also looking for a partner for our pet product for marketing and distribution. The progress we have achieved so far in Plug and Play is that we have 2 deep dives, 1 NDA, 1 marketing investment, 1 pilot trial in pets, and 1 large-scale trial based on methane reduction in dairy and cattle. We are right now conducting 2 clinical trials on humans. All the patients are through, so we have started doing all the analysis on the different trials. 1 is on IBD and 1 is on diabetic and high cholesterol. And then we have a novel food application, which is hopefully through by the end of this year too. And then we have the pet product for dogs, cats, and horses. Thanks for your time. Please feel free to contact us.
Thank you so much, Thomas. And please, everybody in the audience, if any of these startups are interesting, please optimize the Attendify platform to connect with them. So our next company is a digital product sampling platform that helps CPG companies give a taste of their products to targeted consumers at home. So please welcome Alad and Sina from Peekage.
Hi, I'm Sina and I'm here to talk about Peekage. We've all seen the sampling cars at Costco, where people line up to try a new snack. People usually think that these are fruitless marketing activities. But in fact, 50% of the people that try a new product will actually buy the product, and they will recommend it to 4 other people. This makes product sampling the main sales driver for CPG companies. For example, in beauty, 1/3 of the product purchases are actually driven by sampling. Last year alone, CPG companies spent close to $70 billion on product sampling, yet this powerful sales channel has not been disrupted by technology or data. For years, brands have struggled with product sampling, unable to target the right audience, track sales, or leverage data. And with the exploding demand from D2C brands on e-commerce platforms such as Shopify, disruptive solutions are needed more than ever. We are here to reinvent product discovery by making it data-driven and highly personalized. This is how consumers sign up on the Peekage app to discover new products and share their opinion and voice with brands. We make this fun and easy by designing highly contextual surveys that users can respond to in just a few seconds. Through these rapid surveys, users are rewarded with Peekage coins, which they can exchange for free personalized offers. With these collected user responses, we build a comprehensive user profile that brands can leverage to create hyper-targeted campaigns using over 200 consumer attributes, such as age, income, diet, lifestyle, and many more. We also built an omni-channel web version of our product that expands the brand's reach to their target audience on any medium. Tracking was another missing piece in sampling, so we solved it. With Peekage, brands can track consumers and measure their sales conversion or social media engagement. In a short few months since our launch, we have onboarded more than 60,000 users, signed 12 brands, landed a pilot with P&G, and have discussions with several other enterprises. We are generating a monthly revenue of $16,000, and based on our pipeline, we expect to generate $1.5 million in revenue in the next 12 months. We make money by charging our brands a fixed monthly subscription fee that gives them access to a certain number of targeted samplers and data and analytics. This is only made possible by our amazing team at Peekage. My co-founder Milad and I have previously built 2 startups with more than 20 million users and $120 million in sales. We've also built a strong leadership team who have worked for companies such as Apple, Alibaba, and Facebook. Plug and Play program was a great opportunity for us. It helped us understand and navigate the enterprise CPG board, which led to signing a pilot and starting 4 other promising conversations. We also landed 2 channel partnerships through the warm intros from the network. Peekage is bringing data to the forefront of digital product discovery and replicating the retail experience for consumers at home. If you're interested in participating in our seed round, please come talk to us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sina. So next up is Xilinat. They are using biotechnology to transform agricultural waste into a natural, healthy, and appetizing sweetener. So please welcome Javier.
Hello, I'm Javier, the CEO of Xilinat. This picture shows the reason why I'm pitching you my company. It's a picture of my family. The story of Xilinat started when I received the news that my dad was diagnosed with diabetes. That's how I understood that diabetes and obesity are growing quickly because there are no alternatives that taste as good as regular sugar. Then my sister, a dentist, introduced me to xylitol. Xylitol is a natural sugar substitute that protects teeth against cavities, is low in calories, ideal for people with diabetes, but most importantly, it's the only one that tastes identical to sugar. Even though xylitol has all these really cool properties, it's not popular because it's very expensive. And what makes it expensive is its production method. Xylitol is currently made from birch wood and through a series of costly and contaminant chemical reactions. Therefore, for this reason, we created a patented process in which we transform agricultural waste to xylitol through a fermentation. So it's a completely natural, sustainable, and cheaper method that has been awarded by the MIT as a global solution for circular economy. This is how it works. First, we grind the agricultural waste, then we do a pretreatment for releasing fermentable sugars, then we transform those sugars to xylitol through a fermentation. We separate the yeast, which is sold as animal feed, we get rid of the color, and at the end we crystallize. As we employ agricultural waste as a raw material, we avoid pollution. Farmers usually burn the residues, and this practice generates massive amounts of contamination. Furthermore, as we pay poor farmers for the residues, we contribute to enhance their economy. We are targeting the global xylitol market that has a value of $1 billion, but we are certain that we can have a share of the global sweetener market with a value of $105 billion. Compared to other xylitol producers, we are the only company that has a natural method with social impact and the lowest production cost. And compared to other popular sweeteners in the market, xylitol also has health benefits, but it's the only one that tastes identical to sugar. We're working in scaling up our technology from laboratory to pilot plant. Till date, we have been able to sell and produce 4 tons of product to over 3,000 clients. We're a team of 3 co-founders. I have experience in creating new ingredients while working for Unilever, BASF, and Harvard. Isabella has experience in bringing new ingredients to the market. And Lorena is a professor with over 25 years of experience in implementing biorefinery processes. Corporate partnerships through the Plug and Play program are crucial for our growth strategy. We're looking for partners to scale up our production capacity, and partners that use xylitol and would like us to be our providers so we can grow together. Till date, through the Plug and Play program, we have been able to build 3 ongoing conversations with corporate partners. One of them have received samples of our product, and we have been able to polish our growth strategy through the mentorships given in the program. We're certain that with your help, we can continue to sweeten the health of millions. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you so much, Javier. We will now hear from Gini Health. They have created a platform that aggregates user data to make personalized nutrition products that change with the user's continuous health data. Their first product is a subscription-based customized multivitamin. Let's have Gurjot take it away.
Hi, I'm Gurjot Narwal, founder and CEO of Gini Health. Gini Health is creating health outcomes with personalized food, supplement, and data-driven insights. What we do is we use data like DNA data, blood tests, personal health history, and behavioral data to create Gini Health plans for different conditions like diabetes, hypertension, digestion, or nutritional deficiencies with our nutritionists, physicians, and our mobile app. And in our program, we provide people personalized supplements along with this health coaching and provide them functional foods that can help them create positive health outcomes that may be curing or sort of reversing their current deficiencies or diseases and help them live a healthier life, which may increase their health span. We also provide a lot of data insights. And we believe this is the best time for a company like us because a quantified self-movement has exploded in the last few years. Number of people doing DNA testing, blood testing, and using wearable devices has gone through the roof, and it is on an upward trajectory. And we use technology in a very significant manner to get people's data and provide them care that they haven't been able to get earlier, which is super personalized for them. And all this data feeds our algorithm, and we make better care decisions with all this data coming to us continuously. And we provide better outcomes with our vitamins as well as our technology and techniques, whether that is people sleeping better or having more energy. We are recording those outcomes. I want to talk a little bit about plug and play as well. Before plug and play, we had just this multivitamin, which is super customized for people based on their data and health goals. Now, during our plug and play time, we have created a new blood glucose formula that helps people to have better control over their diabetes or blood sugar levels. We're also using few of our partners as well as our colleagues in our batch to create this formula, and we're really excited about this. Also, before plug and play, our model was mostly around personal supplements, and now we are expanding it to provide full counseling and health plan along with our vitamins, and we have got a care team together to create these results, and we are seeing more, and we are getting more and more data inputs, whether it's blood tests or continuous glucose monitoring. And we have now 3 months period where we achieve significant improvements in people's health. We also have our new mobile app design that is coming up very soon that we are working on currently, that again makes use of the functional foods and functional supplements that can be used for active conditions. We are on to 150,000 users on our platform now, which is awesome, which is like a significant improvement, more than 30% improvement when we joined the program. We have also more people who have also connected the DNA data that our research base is getting up and up there. So that's all from us. If you have functional food, or if you want any kind of a nutrition-based product that you want to bring to the market or want to reach these people, I'm happy to talk about it more. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you so much, Gurjot. So our next startup is developing a fungal-based biotech platform to produce next-gen natural ingredients. Please welcome Ricky from Michroma.
Hi everyone, my name is Ricky and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Michroma, a biotech startup developing a platform to produce next-generation ingredients. Take a look at this bacteria under the microscope. Or is it larva of an insect? Actually, these are Cheetos. From snacks, beverages, and candies to healthy food like yogurt and pickles, virtually everything is artificially colored because processed food without dyes look disgusting, not healthy, nor nutritious. They have been related to many health concerns ranging from allergies to hyperactivity, ADHD, and even cancer. Red 40 is just an example of the many petroleum-based dyes we are all eating. Yes, we can produce safer natural ingredients coming from insects and plants, besides being much more expensive, having a poor performance, and a long and difficult to control supply chain. They can lead to a fake perception of sustainability because it's extremely high use of resources like water and land. Thinking about these challenges, we created Michroma, the first ingredient company based on fungal biofactories to produce the next generation of ingredients in a sustainable, scalable, and cost-effective way. Our platform is based on 3 key elements: nature's most powerful biotransformation machine, fungi, the latest editing technology, and precision fermentation, which is the future of agriculture and ingredient production. So we create industrial fungal biofactories, scale them up using bioreactors to produce high-value ingredients at the lowest costs. This platform allows us not only to enter the colorant market, but replace all petroleum-based ingredients like flavors and fragrances. Innovation is not only on the production process, but also on the product. To replace petroleum-based colorants, we are not aiming just to produce the same colorants in a different way, but better ones. Our colorants are much more pH and thermal stable than natural dyes from insects and plants currently used, and starting with the warm colors that represent 70% of the food dyes industry, next on our pipeline are also blue and green. These properties allow us to use our colorants in many applications, as you can see in these pictures, bakery, soda, candies, gummies, vegan bacon, and much more. In the video, you can see how just a little bit of our colorant can color a vanilla yogurt to provide a strawberry look. These properties provided us a lot of traction. We are prototyping our colorant and already receiving great feedback from the top and fastest growing companies all over the world. We received 6 LOIs from huge companies like Danone and multiple employees from the biggest players in the food, beverages, confectionery, and cosmetic industry. This is our great and diverse team. My co-founder and I are the perfect combination between science and business. He is a PhD in biological sciences with more than 15 years of experience in scaling up microbial fermentations, and I'm experienced in entrepreneurship, operation, and logistics. We also have a complementary team of a great food scientist, a biotechnologist, 2 molecular biologists, and a business operation analyst. We continue looking for companies to prototype with on different applications, do pilots with, and partners for future commercialization. Join us in revolutionizing the way we produce ingredients. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ricky. So we have one more startup before our panel, and we are going to be hearing from Probitat. They are creating fermented plant-based food products for better gut health. Please welcome Kern.
Hello, my name is Karma Plumet-Ferrer, and I'm the founder and CEO of Probitat. We are a food technology startup specialized in plant-based fermented foods. Every day we have to choose whether we want to eat healthy and have a healthier lifestyle, or eat unhealthy and put ourselves in risk of developing many diseases. So it seems like a very obvious choice, right? But numbers say otherwise. Because about 40 years ago, less than 10% of the population were obese, whereas right now it's up to 70% in some of the countries. And this, unfortunately, is also happening in developing countries. So why we keep choosing to eat unhealthy foods? Well, because they are delicious. So as long as we don't make healthy foods taste at least as good as unhealthy ones, consumers are going to keep choosing those unhealthy ones. And here we are to help change that. So with our fermentation technology, we can improve the taste of plant-based foods. How we do that is that we have been for the last 20 years isolating and studying microbes, and we know how to use them in product development. So we have these fermented ingredients that we use to develop foods in different categories. For example, in drinks and smoothies, in dairy alternatives, or even in gluten-free bread and other baked products. So here are some of the examples that we have developed. Probitat has a B2B business model. We want to do what we do best, which is the product development using our technology. And we want to partner with companies to scale up the production and commercializing those products. We have a patent protected process, and we license that to our customers. So here are some of our partners, which are the biggest in Finland in their categories. We have a very much scientifically focused team, and recently business development and marketing people have joined us. During the process of the program, we have increased definitely our network. We have engaged with many corporates, and we have also improved our business strategy because of the excellent mentors we have been meeting. So we thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Kern. So now we'll move into our Future of Food panel. So these participants may seem a little familiar because they are actually started from our program and you've just seen their pitches. So from ingredient innovation, personalized nutrition, and market analytics, we'll take a deeper dive into each of these sectors and how they see the food industry shifting in the coming years. I'll now pass it to Jamie, who is our wonderful food ventures analyst on our team.
Thanks so much for joining us at our Spring Summit. As you've seen some amazing pitches today already, we have now welcomed some of our amazing founders to join us for a panel discussion on the future of food. I'm really excited to dive deeper into their technologies and understand more in depth their vision for the future of food. So we're going to jump right in with some questions. Transforming the food system is a vast, multidisciplinary effort, and it requires people from all different disciplinaries and backgrounds, ranging from synthetic biology and chemical engineering to economics and data science. I would love if we could dive a bit deeper and hear more about your journey and how each of you ended up working in the food industry. Ricky, why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, sure, Jamie. Thank you very much for having me. My background is on business. I'm from Argentina. I have a business administration degree. I was working as a management consultant and also a professor of operational logistics. But I always loved innovation. I had a few startups. And 2 years ago, I met with my co-founder, Mauricio. He's a PhD in biological sciences. And he told me about his idea of creating natural dyes using fungi. I didn't know much about biotech at that time. I didn't know anything, to be honest. But I did know about the problems with the food industry and the challenges because I come from a family of farmers. So 2 years ago, when I saw this opportunity, I saw the impact that we could create and the problems that we could solve globally. I decided to quit my job at the consultancy, quit my job at the university and switch to entrepreneurship full time. And that was the start of Michroma.
Great. Very exciting hearing you're not necessarily from a traditional biology background yet. You're in a biology company. Wouter, can we hear a little bit more about your background?
Yeah, thanks, Jamie. And first of all, thanks for having me on the panel. So my background is that I'm actually a lawyer by training. So I have completely no affiliation from a training background with the food industry. But I worked for a large company called DSM. It's a Dutch company, and they're active in all kinds of aspects in polymers, but also in food. Through many career curves, I ended up with their vitamin unit. And I had no idea what I was doing there because I had no background. So I decided to start reading about vitamins. I had the fat-soluble vitamin portfolio under me. That was vitamins A, D, E, K. And I just started collecting science papers, and I was amazed. After a few weeks, I had a huge pile of papers on vitamin D. And this is really how my passion for food came to life, because I noticed that there was a tremendous amount of science being done on vitamin D. The story to be told on vitamin D was enormous, but nobody was listening. So I took it on me to change the perception of the world, basically, of how you look at vitamin D. I was very fortunate that in DSM, I had a lot of resources to do that. Now I work for a very small company, and I would consider the product that we're promoting now worldwide my new vitamin D, my new passion. And I really want to educate the world about the benefits. Just like vitamin D, I think it's a life-changing product, but I'll tell you more about it later.
It's a big undertaking for a lawyer. Gurjot, do you have more of the typical biology background, or what were you doing before Gini Health?
And no, I think I'm like the other two. I'm also an outsider. My background is engineering. So yeah, I worked with consulting firms, Accenture, PwC, then was with Home Depot for a while. Then I think my journey to this space has been very personal. So I lost a friend at a very young age to cancer. So that sort of pushed me to learn more, like why do we have this like reactionary approach to health? And that led me to nutrition and to more personalized nutrition, how we all are so unique from like biochemical perspective, and we have the same approach for everybody. How can we have a different approach? And then I took that like a data route, and how there's like so much data available, and how can we use that data to personalize people's nutrition? So then we sort of built the whole company, and my journey started from the DNA and now to the full health perspective, and how can we use different foods and the different vitamins to personalize for people to help them in the personalized journey.
Yeah, I know your story is really inspirational, and as we heard in the pitch, it really connects the dots for why personalized nutrition is going to be so important in the future of food. Milad, our final panelist, what brought you to the space? What's your background?
Great. I guess we are all outsiders. So I'm coming from engineering and management background. But I used to, the past 10 years, I used to work with a lot of companies on the marketing side of, business. And something, a personal story that lead to Peekage basically was that when back in 2018, when I moved to my new flat, I started to receive baby diapers. And I wasn't even married at that time. So I was sort of curious why they are sending me these baby diapers. What is happening with all these, products that go to landfill. And that was kind of the moment that we started to look at what is happening with CPG industry in general, food, bev, and what are basically the experiential marketing side of it, how it's seen innovation in the past 10 years and how companies and brands are reaching to consumers in order to show their products and in order to do product testing, how that's happening right now. That was sort of the early moment that, oh, we need to just look at this market and we need to see how it's working. So that was sort of the start point.
Very interesting. I think food is so personal to all of us. I mean, everybody eats. It really touches every aspect of our lives. So it's interesting to hear each of your individual personal experiences that kind of led you into this industry. So as founders with different backgrounds and in slightly different technology categories across the food value chain, each one of you brings a unique approach to this conversation. I'm curious to understand from your perspective why entrepreneurship, specifically within the food industry, is so relevant at this moment. What are some of the trends that are shaping and influencing the future of food as kind of a bonus question? We can go in the same order. So Ricky, why don't you kick us off?
I believe that the world is moving at a really, really fast pace. Consumers every day are demanding better quality products, healthier, cheaper products. We have iPhones every year, new iPhones every year. And I think that the food industry hasn't moved as fast as consumers' demand is changing. So we need more innovation. We need more entrepreneurs. We need creative people to be able to be at the same pace. We need entrepreneurs' mindset, not only on startups like ours, but also on the scientific community. We need entrepreneur mindset with corporates inside the corporations to develop new technology, but also there is a lot of potential to leverage existing ones like artificial intelligence, machine learning, synbio, and fermentation. That's I think it's the potential that we have to have more entrepreneurs in the space to make faster developments and create a lot of innovation.
That's great. Wouter?
Yeah, sure. I think very personal. When I observe the food space, the thing I notice is that it used to be dominated by big brands, by big companies with very, very big household brand names. And now they're constantly being disrupted by smaller entrepreneurial companies that seem to connect better to a set of consumers, sometimes a large set of consumers. And then they typically get acquired by the big companies. So it almost, to me, looks like there seems to be a deficit in big companies to connect quickly to those changing consumer trends. And they only can catch up by acquiring companies. That's for me a very interesting observation. So I think that's why entrepreneurs in the food space are so important, and I think will only become more important.
Yeah, I completely agree. Berjo, maybe you can touch specifically on kind of the personalized nutrition component of the future of food and entrepreneurship in the food industry right now.
Yeah, sure. I think the world has changed so much in the last sort of 10 to 12 years. when we have our iPhones and Android phones, and people have so much information. And food industry, which was been like mostly went through consolidation in last maybe 50 years and new food trends. And now I think the intersection of health, technology, data, and it's like changing the consumer mindset in a big way, right? So that's why I think entrepreneurship is so important because there's for big companies already, working some way or fashion from last 50 to 100 years is very different for them to, come up with new things. So that's why I think it's so important that we have like so many companies coming up in food space, and especially I think other consumer sort of trend with technology, that the quantified self movement, as it is called, like we have now all that data coming in, whether we are like wearing these trackers, wearables, and people have access to their DNA data, which exactly started from last, 5 years, though it was like done like maybe 20 years ago, but in the last 5-7 years, it started actually becoming mainstream. Now I can do my like direct to consumer blood testing. So I have so much data available. Now I'm not getting any insights from my data, right? And I don't know how to use it, right? And how, like, I think this is such a broken chain from like for personalization perspective. Now I'm trying to see what is good for me. And now just to get that done, to live that life is so difficult. So I think now most of the companies in personalized nutrition space or diet space are trying to do that, right? How we get like a better model of you and then get you the stuff you need. Because at the end of the day, you still need all those factors. You want things faster, cheaper, better. So how do you do that in a personalized space now? I think it's gonna go more and more, like become mainstream as we will see. And most companies, I think big companies are open to this sort of trend, right? So I think it's gonna be just a sort of intersection of health with food is going to be the key one in this decade.
Yeah, and what I think is so unique about personalized nutrition within the future of food is it really feels like we're just at the starting point. We are really just at the very beginning. Elad, you have a lot of insights into customers and how they're feeling. What do you think is going to be some of the trends that are shaping and influencing the future of food?
Right. I guess to build up on what Gurjot mentioned as well, is that we now have access to an immense amount of data, right? And this data is now accessible to everyone. Before then, back 10 years ago, it was more, these data were available to enterprises through traditional channels. It's super easy to collect that data and get a lot of insights out of it. And the innovation in the past 10 years and the access to technology made it way easier for every entrepreneur to just now get into the food industry and try to just like innovate and come up with like new things. So I think that's one of the important things, is that innovation in food actually got way easier than what it used to be 10 years ago. But going back to your question of like, what influences, I guess we are seeing a lot of like, consumer trends. The last year was crazy in terms of like, changes in behavior. I'm going to get to that later. But in general, what we see is that now we have platforms and we have mechanisms to get consumer insights almost instantly. And with the whole innovation on the AI side to predict the consumer behavior and expect the behavior just in matter of like, seconds, what or where we are going. So I think that that's sort of like, the biggest, mover in this space, and why, and we see a lot of like, entrepreneurships right now happening with smaller companies and getting, of course, absorbed by enterprises.
These are invaluable insights. I think as entrepreneurs being on the ground, you really see what the future landscape of food is. I want to dig a little bit deeper into some of your technology. Wouter. As we saw during the pitch session, Phynova's main product is Reducose, which significantly lowers blood sugar and insulin response after a meal. Speaking from an ingredient innovation perspective, which is one of the major trends within the food industry right now, could you tell us a little bit about how those ingredients have a direct relationship with some health trends that are also being seen?
Yeah, sure. So I'd like to maybe approach it from two angles. One is the industry angle and one is the consumer angle, and they are intersecting. When I look at the participation in the P&P program, which by the way was really great from many aspects, but there was a red line in all the engagements we had with the partners, and that was they're all looking for sugar reduction. That's a huge driver for innovation in the food space. And when you look at it from the consumer angle, I think what's really happening is the relationship, and this is a psychological observation, the relationship of consumers with the foods they eat is changing. People are more critical of what they eat, are more skeptical of how the products are made, not just what they eat and what the health profile or nutritional profile is, but how far was it sourced? Is it being made ethically, etc.? So food has suddenly become multi-dimensional, and it was already a cultural thing. It was already an emotional thing, but it's now becoming, and again, it's a connection to Gurjot, a very personal thing. It's very personal to see the psychological relationship of a consumer with foods. So what's happening, and this is again the connection to the sugar reduction, is that we see an advent of not only awareness of consumers that say some foods are better for me than others, and sugar definitely is being perceived as a baddie increasingly, but you also have the diagnostic tools that are coming up. And so one of the things that I find extremely fascinating, I'm holding up here a continuous glucose monitor. It's a little device that actually allows you to track live what's happening with the blood sugar fluctuations you have in response to the foods you eat. Now, what is the breaking news here, and I just read an article yesterday, is that Apple, Samsung, they're all going to be able to put these devices in smartwatches, in their next iteration of smartwatches. So imagine the consumer no longer just measuring sleep and watching heart rates go up or down during sports, but also being able to watch their blood sugar curve reacting to the foods they eat. And everybody reacts differently. You will react differently to eating a banana than I will. So again, food is very personal, and the diagnostics make it very accessible to see how your food makes your blood glucose response. So with the ingredient that I represent, with Reducose, what we actually do is we empower the consumer to take back control. Again, a psychological benefit that we deliver. So rather than having to worry about what am I eating, how is it going to influence, the consumer is empowered to not only observe what it does, what the food does, but also to impact it, to manage it, to control it better. So that's the consumer angle. And again, I'm intersecting it with the industry angle. The ingredient Reducose enables the partners, the industry partners, to improve the profile of their foods without having to do massive reformulation, because sugar, frankly speaking, it's a baddie, but it's also a very important ingredient in the whole matrix of food. Taking out sugar gives you a lot of reformulation headaches. With Reducose, you can actually bring the health profile up and improve it. It will be demonstrably, visibly measured by the consumer, but you don't have to go through massive reformulation headaches. So I think we really are giving a lot of benefits to the consumers as well as to the industry partners with Reducose.
Fascinating, really interesting. Ricky, I know Michroma is developing something quite different, developing fungal biofactories to produce natural ingredients in a sustainable, scalable, and cost-effective way. Could you touch on the importance of bringing novel ingredients and novel methodologies to the food industry?
Yeah, sure. Let me explain it with an example. We use red number 40. It's the most used food dye. It's a synthetically produced dye, petroleum-based, which is related to many health concerns, allergies, hyperactivity, ADHD, and even cancer. We can replace this dye with natural ones, but only on some applications, because natural dyes coming from plants and insects, they have low performance, low pH, low thermal stability, and also they are really expensive. But besides that, if they were great, there is a huge problem regarding the sustainability of natural dyes. We are using a lot of water, a lot of land, pesticides in the production. So what we are doing at Michroma is replacing petroleum-based dyes, but also flavors, fragrances, with a better natural solution. We want to produce, and we are producing, better natural dyes that are more pH, more thermal stable, and the production process is better because we can produce these ingredients using a process similar to the production of beer. We are using fermentation, which has many advantages. We can use just a fraction of water, just a fraction of land, carbon emissions. We have a stable product, batch to batch. Basically, it's really scalable, really sustainable, cost efficient. And besides producing colors, flavors, and fragrances, as we do, we can produce many more ingredients using fermentation and synbio. There are companies like Clara Foods. They are producing egg protein without the egg. Companies like New Culture producing real cheese without the need of milk, and Xilinat on this batch too. So there is a lot of potential to develop ingredients in a different way besides petroleum-based production and agriculture that we are just starting. This space is currently booming.
Ingredient innovation is so fascinating, and it's really exciting to have you here. Gurjot, you take a different perspective with Gini Health on the personalized nutrition front, using software to help shape the food industry. Could you discuss a little bit more about what, from a customer behavior perspective, what has really been influencing the hype on this kind of personalization, and what currently impacts purchasing decisions when it comes to dieting? Or is dieting not even the right word for what this is?
Yeah, I think dieting might not be the best word, because but even if you're talking about personalized nutrition, at the end of the day, it has your food, like that's your diet, and your supplements, the other things that you use to supplement your diet. I think we see like two main sort of consumer behaviors as well. First is just a curiosity of people to know more about themselves. That is like, our body has been a black box, so we didn't know much about it. So as Walter showed you, just like continuous glucose monitor, I have one over here on my arm too. And so how you know more about yourself, that's just a curiosity. And the second part is like, what can you do about it? Because once you know something, right? So I think in earlier world, when you don't have Phynova or Reducose, you're trying to find out glycemic index of the food, right? It's like so hard. I think with our software, what we are trying to do is that make it super easy for people to know what is going on with all your data, put it at one place, and sort of give you your personalized model of health. Okay, you are experimenting at the end of the day, but we are getting all the data, and what does it mean for you, and what experiments you should run, right? It's like, you should maybe try low carb foods, or maybe you should try high fat diet. So that's like one aspect. Second is that I think we do like very, like as already may have seen in our pitch, right? So we do like very customized vitamins. In that part, we were surprised because vitamin industry hasn't sort of changed in last 80 to 90 years. It's been like different packaging, different brands, different labeling coming up, but not exactly, you are like changing things for your customers on the go. So people are very receptive to that idea. So if I know that, you have improved your diet, your vitamins should change too, and that your diet has gone bad, your vitamins should be different than what you were having earlier. So that sort of dynamicity is one of the biggest things that we see as you get your data, and you have like sort of personal assistant that already takes care of you and make personalized products for you. So these personalized products are going to be big thing, I think, as we go into the next decade as well. So that we see, that's why you have to bring a consumer behavior with software to deliver the personalized products to them.
Very interesting. And Milad, I think you bring a bit of a different perspective because Peekage really isn't just a food company. It touches on, or has the potential to touch on, every industry out there. So as an immersive product discovery platform for your consumers that's focusing on data-driven digital product sampling, how do you think that consumers feel about the food industry? Or could you dive a little bit deeper into what makes the food industry particularly unique when it comes to talking about consumer trends and behavior?
Right. I guess one of the most unique things that we're seeing in the food industry is that compared to other categories is that the amount of innovation that is happening right now. The concerns over the impact of food on environment, renewable food sources, and managing food waste. These are the concerns that we are hearing every day from consumers. Like 10 years ago, it was more of a food. Now it's more of like, how it's going to affect my environment as well. And this is something that needs to be, as they mentioned, as we talk about it, that the food is something personal. There is no solution for all. So what needs to happen here, and what companies are looking forward in the food industry, is that to get access to everyone's basically data, everyone's insights about their sentiments on the products that they use. The underlying these movements on these innovations on the product, on the innovation side of the food industry, is that consumer data, or those rapid product testing and fast feedback loops from the consumers. 10 years ago, we didn't have that. Now we have access to it. Like what we do in Peekage basically is that we help the companies to get that insights from everyone, and not just necessarily one focus group or paid people to do that, but rather to get that data point from mass community. And something else that we see in the food industry is unique compared to other categories is the transparency. A lot of consumers are, it becomes more important than ever for a lot of consumers to understand where does basically this food come from. And we recently did a research on our user base. 70% of our users said that they want to learn more about where their food comes and how it's made. So I guess that's another thing that's going to disrupt this market, the transparency side of it. And that's something that the brands wants to quickly test and understand and see where it's enough or resonates with the consumers.
Interesting. And just to follow up with this, I think it's hard to not reflect on the past year without thinking about how the COVID-19 pandemic has shaped consumer behaviors. What have you been seeing on the ground? You're very in touch with consumers. What shifts have you seen in regards to some expectations of the post-COVID era?
Yeah, we saw four, I guess I can put it into four categories. The first one is the shift to at-home experiences and, of course, at-home product testing. We are doing everything right now at home. The retail is changing. It's not going to be the way that we used to do, going out, doing window shopping, going between the aisles, and just testing, seeing the products and stuff. It has changed in a way that now it is happening at home. A lot of consumers demand to do the same or get the same experience. Even the fun out of the retail, when you just go to the shop, they want to experience it somehow at home. So we see a lot of behavior is changing towards at-home experiences. That's one of the big one. The second thing that we saw during the last year was that shift to value and essentials. We are still seeing that though with the whole vaccine rollout, still a lot of people or users are saying that they want to stick on spending on essentials and cutting back on most discretionary categories. So that's something else that we think is going to continue in the next couple of years. Another thing that is interesting is that we saw during the pandemic was the shock to loyalty. We saw a lot of consumers, they responded to the crisis differently, but what we saw is that they are expressed that they're going to basically they're going to keep this behavior and they're going to continue doing it. It's not going to go away, and they're going to just go with new behaviors or new categories or new products that they tested during the pandemic. So that's another important factor. And the last one was that an omni-channel consumption, we call it. It's an increase in basically omni-channel consumption, meaning that the consumers wants to have more access than ever to eat what they want, when and where they want. Convenient meal solutions and restaurant-based products have brought dining taste to home cooking and bringing restaurant flavors to kitchens, to home kitchens. So I guess that's another thing that we're going to see. A lot of consumers are going to request for more out of home experiences in the home, and these are the four main I guess shift that we're going to see even post-COVID.
Fascinating. I can't believe it, but we've almost reached the end of our time here. So one final question to all of our panelists, and we'll make it rapid fire. Any final words to share to our audience, or kind of your vision for 5-10 years down the line, what you think the future of food will look like? Ricky, you can kick us off real quick.
Sure. I think we are going to see a lot of science and tech-based startups. A lot of startups on the SynBio fermentation space, also artificial intelligence, machine learning, and all these technologies are going to allow us to use less animals, use less water, less land, to have cheaper and healthier products, reduce hunger, and also increase life expectancy. So I'm really positive about the next 5 and 10 years.
A lot to look forward to. Wouter, any final words?
Yeah, maybe a bit synthesizing what we've heard from the different panelists. I think the key word is convergence. I think you will see these different trends starting to intersect and converge. Fully agree with Milad. Transparency is going to be increasingly important. So understanding how food impacts your health, but also understanding how food was made and where it's coming from. And that will increasingly drive consumers' behaviors.
Awesome. Gurjot, any more insights to share with us?
Yeah, I think mostly, in last sort of 40 years, we have been seeing that food industry has been blamed for, some of the diet trends. I think now it's sort of the redemption period that, we know that with food, we can sort of change or reverse some of the lifestyle diseases we had. I think it's going to be like a crucial thing to redeem, as well as people will understand that, these like health related diseases, they are reversible, and we can have I think a health span can be much better going forward with food.
I certainly hope so. It sounds like a bright future if that's the case. Milad, any final words to our audience?
No, I can just summarize what my peers mentioned into just two things. I guess the future in the 5 to 10 years, I see more sustainability and plan forward focus.
Great. I really appreciate our panelists' time today. I personally learned a lot from each of you. I think you bring really unique insights into what the future of food will look like, and I am very confident with you as leaders in this space. Thank you all of our attendees for joining us today, and we look forward to having you join us for some more pitches later in the afternoon. Thanks so much.
That was an incredible panel. I think I speak on behalf of all of our attendees. I agree with a lot of the great points that were brought up, consumer awareness, shifting preferences, and the convergence of trends, importance of data for personalization within food and health, and the rapid movement of innovation, and inevitably leading to a lot of disruption in our industry. So thank you again to Ricky, Water, Malad, and Gurjot for participating in the panel discussion. And also a huge shout out for Jamie for being such a great moderator. So next up, we will have a quick 10-minute break. So before I let you go, a quick reminder to network with startups in their booths through the Attendify feature. So you can head to the startup booths by clicking the presentation icon that is located at the right-hand side of your screen. There is also a Meet Now feature that allows you to have one-on-one video chats with the startup. So anyone with the green video icon is available to chat. So to all of the startups and attendees, please turn on your Meet Now feature. It will be under your name in the upper right-hand corner. So happy networking, and I'll see you guys soon for the second half of our pitches.
How do you track your team's innovation efforts? However that is, we've got an easier way. Let us introduce Playbook. Playbook is Plug and Play's innovation software. It is an exclusive tool only available for our ecosystem's corporate partners. With it, you and your team will be able to browse your curated startups database, create, discover, and rate lists of startups, track your engagement, pilots, and investments, analyze data from the tech ecosystem, organize private sessions with select startups, and so much more. Hundreds of corporations count on Playbook to empower their innovation journey. Get in touch to start using Playbook today.
Hi again, everyone. So hopefully everybody is making their way back to this session. And no worries if you didn't get a chance to meet with a specific startup during the break. There will be an hour of networking afterwards. So there will be plenty of opportunities to connect. Huge shout out to those who have stayed on since the beginning. We're almost there. We will now kick off the second half of our startup pitches. So up first is IXON. They are creating an innovative product designed to significantly extend the shelf life of packaged food by reducing the formation of biofilm on packaging surfaces. So please welcome Felix.
Hey everyone, this is Felix, founder and CEO of IXON. Now, who here has had the experience of buying food, storing it in the fridge, and realizing after 1 week that the food has already spoiled? Well, I have, especially for highly perishable food such as meats, fish, and seafood. In fact, 25% of the meats and 40% of the fish and seafood we produce today are thrown away because of food spoilage or expiration dates. That's 100 million tons of food worth $300 billion that could have been used to feed 2.3 billion people. Well, luckily, those days of being so wasteful are soon to be over. Introducing ASAP, or Advanced Sous Vide Aseptic Packaging, a sterilization and packaging technology that enables lightly cooked meats, fish, and seafood to be stored at room temperature for up to 2 years. Here's a US sirloin steak that is packaged using our ASAP technology. It doesn't require refrigeration and will maintain its taste and medium rare quality for up to 2 years. Now, by enabling food storage at room temperature, we help food companies save up to $160 billion and 80% energy, which would otherwise contribute to air pollution and global warming. In fact, ASAP is the most efficient preservation technology known to date and has the potential to solve 10 out of 17 Sustainable Development Goals set out by the United Nations. We currently have a pilot factory in Hong Kong for making and testing products. Next, we are to build a pilot factory in US where the production capacity will be increased to 1 ton of meat per day. Our goal is to build a new meat business model that bypasses traditional cold chain distribution and goes directly to consumers at a lower price point with no international shipment fees and on a monthly subscription model. Such business model is made possible only because of an enabling technology such as ASAP. Over the last 15 months, we have joined 5 accelerator programs, worked with 22 major corporations, including Amadori, Cargill, Ecolab, Mitsui Chemicals, and Sealed Air, and won multiple international awards. Through the Plug and Play program, we got connected with Tyson Foods and received fundraising advice from various mentors. Currently, we are raising our Series A round, which we hope to close before June. If you are a meat processor, packaging company, grocery chain, or a food service company that would like to leverage on the D2C meats business opportunity, please come talk to us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Felix. Our next startup is using food as medicine to cure chronic disease. So please welcome Sung Park from Fyxx Health.
Hi, my name is Sung Park. I'm the founder of Fyxx Health, and our mission is to cure chronic disease by using food as medicine. Now, eating healthy is hard. It can be inconvenient, it can be expensive, and certainly nobody's ever asked for a plate of broccoli at the end of dinner. But what if a donut was actually good for you? Then eating healthy would be easy, it'd be convenient, and it would be fun. And so at Fyxx, we make great tasting and truly healthy snacks. And we do 3 things. 1, we take fun, delicious, familiar foods like cookies, candies, crackers, and we take out the bad stuff, the sugar, refined carbs, and we add clinically proven actives. So at Fyxx, we put the good stuff in the fun stuff. We take probiotics, beta-glucans, herbs, vitamins, essential minerals, and we put them into things like cookies, gummies, chocolates, and beverages. And so we're creating a brand portfolio of candies and gums, snacks, beverages, and coffee mix-ins that target things like obesity, gut health, immunity, bone health, and inflammation. And we're doing it as a unified brand collection versus a collection of brands, which makes it easier for e-commerce, penetrating retail, and cross-selling. Here's a couple examples of foods that we're coming out with. Here's an oatmeal craisin cookie. It's very low sugar, it's low carb, and it's got probiotics and beta-glucans in it. If you're gonna eat a cookie, that's a great one to eat. This is a gummy that we're also coming out with. It tastes like an orange gummy. It's sugarless, but it's actually made from carrots. We've got sugar-free chocolates that help combat PMS. And here's a matcha green tea drink mix for bone health. And we're going omnichannel. We work well direct to retail and creating food as medicine programs for retailers, plus also D2C. We work out well, particularly for membership or subscription-based consumers. Timeline, we were founded in Q4 2019 out of FoodX in New York City. We spent most of last year working on the brand and strategy and product development. We were accepted into Plug and Play. We were able to raise a seed round of financing. We've been in manufacturing. We should launch our first 7 products in May and then continue from there. Right now, we're looking for partners who are interested in participating in food as medicine, both on the retail side and on the brand side. And here's the interesting fact that we came out of COVID with, which is 42% of adults in the United States had an average weight gain of 29 pounds. So we think post-COVID, there's gonna be a big swing back to healthy snacking. I'm Sung Park again. Thank you very much, and I hope to hear from you.
Thank you so much, Sung. We'll now hear from Kern Tec. Through the development of a highly innovative industrial process, Kern Tec upcycles fruit stones of apricots, cherries, plums, and peaches, a byproduct in the food industry, into a new sustainable high-value resource. Please welcome Sebastian.
Welcome, guys. Today, I will bring you into the product world of Kern Tec, the startup which invented the new upcoming nut for the food and beverage industry. In Europe, over 500,000 tons of apricot, plum, and cherry stones go to waste at juice or jam manufacturers. What was needed were several technologies to transform this waste into high-quality resources. We recycle 100% of the raw material and are happy to have reached the goal being circular. So remember these resources: cherry, plum, and apricot seeds. We work every day that these will become the next superstars in the food and beverage industry. That's how we produce them. We control the whole supply chain by picking up the stones until the creation of the final products. The two technologies we invented are, on the one hand, our separation process to win the inner seeds, and on the other hand, our detoxifying process to get the cyanides out of our seeds. Through that, it's possible for the first time to bring these new nuts into the growing markets of the food industry. But it's not just about the newness, it's about the ingredients. High content of plant-based protein, healthy fats, no allergens, and most importantly, a brand new fantastic taste. Additionally, our customers and their products benefit from a big marketing opportunity through the upcycling story. Since it's a byproduct, you can even name it the most sustainable nut on the market. As you know, nuts have a wide field of application. We successfully placed the first two products. We already got listed in Austria's retail with the world's first nougat made of apricot seeds, which is a sustainable nougat alternative. Furthermore, our cold-pressed oils are rich in highly valuable fatty acids and fascinate with their excellent taste. Either processed in bakery or pure as topping over desserts, you get a unique nut and amaretto aroma. This summer, we are ready to launch our next innovation. We developed our final recipe of a non-dairy milk and yogurt based on our resources and are planning to go to market in August. Last but not least, our flours are an absolute newcomer when there is a need for a tasty protein. Here are some pictures of our plant situated in Austria, and in terms of sustainability, a simple comparison with the almond shows that our materials provide great taste while consuming 90% less water and no additional land use, since it's sourced as a byproduct. Over the last 2 years, we raised 400,000 euros non-dilutive fund from the government. We gained over 50 customers and processed over 800 tons of stones in our production line. In July, we are running our first seed round with about 1 million euros and are planning to enter the non-dairy market while tripling our production capacity. After entering plug and play, we could go into follow-up discussions with 6 participants. We had over 10 mentorship sessions and got especially well prepared for our upcoming fundraising round. If you want to launch the next product with us, we are happy to get in touch.
Thank you so much, Sebastian. Next up is isense, a digital flavor collection manager and marketplace. I'll let Matthew take it away.
Hi, I'm Mathieu Asté, the CEO and founder of isense. isense is a food tech startup from Switzerland that created the first open and independent sensory language for flavors. It allows to describe, search, compare, and choose flavors quicker and cheaper. We aim to increase transparency in the global flavor offering and to support your flavor critical decisions with the first digital flavor portal. Unlike colors that you can select based on color palettes, flavors are not specified for their most important attribute, their taste. There are 20,000 strawberry flavors around and you can't compare them. As a result, flavor management is cumbersome, flavor choice remains artistry, cost and complexity only increase, and product development remains slow and iterative. isense changes this. We offer the first open and independent sensory language. We specify the taste of flavors across the industry, and we ease flavor management and selection with the first digital flavor portal. Flavor houses and food and beverage manufacturers likewise build up their own standardized flavor sensory data and leverage it to accelerate their innovation and productivity. All your technologists around the world have a cloud-based and secured access to your flavor collection. Flavor briefing becomes easier, benchmarking immediate, and collection rationalization possible. Digital changes already the way we track consumer insight. What about digital to support your flavor critical decisions, like selection and optimization? With isense, product developers gather insight on flavor attributes that matters. Your flavor collection becomes a strategic asset, and tomorrow you'll start correlating liking scores and historical project results to your flavor sensory data. Starting with isense is easy. We propose industry services to build up your sensory capabilities and flavor knowledge. And our flavor portal operates as a software as a service. You can register from our website and get started immediately. We launched our service in 2019 and generated significant revenue so far while developing new languages, improving our offer, and onboarding different accelerators. Most of our revenue comes from Europe today, although we made pilots already with US, Colombian, Australian, Chinese, Indian, Singaporean, Korean, and Japanese companies. Our team, investors, and advisors have senior executive background in both the flavor and the food and beverage industry. isense is transformative, tangible, and needed. We have solid names on board like Takasago, Michroma, or Nestlé, and we look forward to starting pilots with more corporate partners, being flavor houses or food and beverage manufacturers. Contact us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Matthew. The next company is working on a plant-based innovation for a better future. So please welcome Augustin from Tomorrow Foods.
Hi, my name is Agustin Melloso, CEO and co-founder of Tomorrow Foods, a startup from Argentina delivering sustainable and CO2 neutral plant-based protein systems for the B2B global food industry. Even though our life on Earth as a whole seems to become more challenging every day, we like to focus on the solutions we have right here, right now, such as plant-based proteins, which are great for us and the planet. However, there is still work to do in order to achieve their mass adoption and take full advantage of their positive impact. To address these challenges and bottlenecks, we have designed and developed plant-based protein systems. These turnkey solutions allow our customers in the food industry to launch new plant-based products in a simple and agile way. To do so, we leverage a comprehensive and diversified proteins portfolio and an extraction and isolation proprietary process through a modular and scalable launchpad. We have achieved this through our fully integrated and sustainable native approach that allows us to leverage more than 30 years of regenerative agriculture experience in the region, design and develop our own isolates and plant-based ingredients specially tailored for the best performance of our solutions, and run an iterative process that leads to adjustments and new discoveries. Being vertically integrated also allows us to trace our whole process. Plant-based foods are gaining followers day by day in our region, which is poised to become the next plant-based frontier driven by flexitarians and the new generations. We have a complementary and experienced team along the plant-based value chain, which is also reinforced through an extensive R&D network with top-tier institutions, an advisory board of long-standing experts that share our vision, and a global network that fosters a forward-thinking mindset. We have just closed our seed round for $3 million, enabling us to build our plant-based innovation launchpad to deepen and accelerate R&D on regional crops and their potential applications. Also to scale up the production of our ingredients and solutions to start developing our footprint in the Latin market. We are actively seeking for new partnerships to co-develop new plant-based solutions that leverage on our unique approach and launchpad. We are able to work on POCs, MVPs, or pilots from lab scale to full-scale commercial trials. Our participation in Food Batch 9 is helping us to explore those opportunities both with corporate partners and also across startups. We look forward to enabling the world transition to a healthy and sustainable food future and would love your help. Reach out, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Austin. So next up is WCycle. They are offering a green and compostable single-use packaging solution for hot meals and beverages. Please welcome Lior.
Hello,
My name is Leo Itai, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of WCycle. WCycle develops and sells eco-friendly food packaging solutions. Plastic is an amazing material. It practically revolutionized the way that we live. The problem is that we just can't get rid of it. Humanity generates about 350 million tons of plastic annually. 40% of that number goes to packaging. Only 9% of the plastic actually reaches recycling facilities. And when we look further into the numbers, we see that less than 3% is actually being recycled. The rest is either being burned or goes to waste. Now let's talk about recycling for a second. Recycling doesn't really solve the problem, because we're taking this bottle of plastic as an example and we make a chair of it. So 20 years down the line, our kids will need to deal with this plastic chair, which means that we're not solving the problem, we just push it to the next generation. How can we create food container without plastic? We've realized the solution should be eco-friendly, cost-effective, and it should retain the same product attributes. Initially, we've decided to start with making it liquid-proof and rigid at various temperatures. This is how we came up with SuperPulp. SuperPulp has FDA and EU direct food contact approval. It's 100% home compostable, it's non-coated, and it's free of plastic, aluminum, and other non-compostable barriers. It's completely liquid and oil-proof, and it could hold food without deforming at temperatures varying from -40 all the way up to 518 Fahrenheit. It is cost-effective. WCycle focuses on 4 main vertical use cases. Food manufacturers, mainly for frozen food, ready meals, fresh meat, produce, etc. Institutions, for projects like school meals, hospital catering, homeland security, etc. Transportation, mainly around airlines, but not just, also trains, ships, and of course, restaurants for takeaway, home delivery, and outside eating. So what's next for us on our journey? We're currently hard at work at the next generation of SuperPulp. It's going to be a home compostable, high barrier food packaging solution. Thank you, and join us on our journey to replace plastic. We are WCycle.
Thank you so much, Laura. So last but certainly not least, we have Papkot. They are creating a paper coating to replace plastic films in packaging. So please welcome Manuel.
Hi everyone, this is Manuel from Papkot. We're going to replace all single-use plastic packaging with paper, because paper is fully recyclable and fully biodegradable. Thanks to our technology, plug and play. You can use it right now on your current machinery, on your current packaging lines. Third point, pillar number 2, cutting by 70% carbon emissions. How? By replacing plastic with paper in packaging. And we can do it. Carbon emissions are one of the biggest problems of our times. And we have to act now. But it's not the only one. We throw away the equivalent of the human population mass every year. It's a huge problem. For us, for the planet, for companies, and for consumers. Consumers are extremely concerned about climate change and plastic packaging. So here is the future. This package is recyclable in the paper stream, fully biodegradable in a couple of weeks, or it can keep its shelf life for months, like plastic. And we do it by adding a very thin layer of glass on top of the paper, keeping the paper fully recyclable and fully biodegradable, but with the same performance of a plastic packaging, and FDA approved and BFR approved. And a very tiny team is working on this. Faina is a professor of molecular chemistry at University of Paris. And I'm from another industry. I'm from AI. We decided to unite in order to solve this problem. We also have soft commitment from industry professionals. We improved trial after trial. We went through different industrial trials. As you can see, every time we have a better surface. And we're going to go to market by March 2021 with our first product. There is some competition. Some of them don't have a food grade product. Some of them are working on a different business model. A patent has been filed last November. Our biggest barrier is credibility and build trust. Trust with you, with partners, users, customers, chemical companies. You are our partners. You are the one we want to listen to. We want to listen to your problem and to solve through our proprietary formulation. But we don't start from the solution, we start from the problem. We start from you. Our revenue streams will come from direct sales and licensing and JV. JV is actually a model we are looking forward. Until here, I ran Papkot on my own money. Now we're going to sign the first contract, opening a seed round of 2 million euro. Then a Series A next year for setting up our own production facility. How can we work together? Through a POC or a joint development on a very specific goal, or third option, the seed round. We're going to raise very soon, and we want Papkot belonging to everyone on the planet. Plastic pollution is a gigantic problem. Papkot is a great solution built on trust and values. We are looking forward to working with you to take it to the market together. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Manuel. So that wraps up the startup pitches for today's session. I know that everyone is really anxious to network with the startups, but I'd ask everyone to please stay tuned for just a little bit longer for a few announcements. We'd love to introduce our two new partners that joined Plug and Play Food during this program, ADM and ICL. So let's hear a few words from Dan Griffiths, the Investment Director at ADM, and Robert Senekis, the Director of Open Innovation at ICL.
Hi, my name is Dan Griffiths, and I'm an investment director for ADM Ventures. I'm excited to introduce ADM and ADM Ventures for Plug and Play's Spring Summit. Thanks. So ADM, who are we? What do we do? Well, ADM provides ingredient solutions to customers in food, feed, fuel, and industrial market segments. Well, what does that mean? Well, we really do three basic things. One, we procure, store, and transport crops. Two, we process those crops into ingredient solutions. And three, finally, we sell those ingredient solutions to customers across food, feed, fuel, and industrial market segments. ADM was founded in 1902. We're a global leader in nutrition and the world's largest corn processor. We're based in Illinois. Our headquarters globally is in Chicago, and our North American headquarters is in Decatur, Illinois. And we have 38,000 employees that service over 200 countries worldwide. ADM Ventures engages with startups in 5 core areas that align with ADM's business. Those areas are human nutrition, animal nutrition, health and wellness, sustainable materials, and finally, ag tech. Here with Plug and Play, we're primarily focusing on human nutrition, health and wellness, and a little sustainable materials. ADM Ventures engages with startups in 3 ways. We invest, we lead or syndicate Series A through C stage investments in startups worldwide. We partner by structuring strategic partnerships between startups and ADM businesses. And finally, we refer, referring startups to ADM businesses so that ADM can be a customer, a vendor, or a pilot partner. Some examples of our work are shown on the slide below. And the small team of 6 that comprises ADM Ventures, we really are the conduit through which ADM engages with startups on a worldwide basis. We're led by Ian Pinner, ADM's SVP of Strategy and Innovation. Darren Streiler, our Managing Director for Human Health and Nutrition, is really leading our engagement with Plug and Play, supported by Dr. Jay Siddharth, who covers health and wellness and the microbiome for ADM Ventures, and myself, Dan Griffiths. I cover animal nutrition and sustainable materials. One thing to note, we are based globally across ADM headquarters in Illinois, Switzerland, and Sao Paulo. Thank you. And last but not least, why Plug and Play? Well, we see Plug and Play really as a conduit through which ADM can cast a wider net so that we engage with relevant startups and industry partners across industries and on a worldwide basis. We look to leverage Plug and Play for three main reasons. One, to identify, to find and build relationships with market-leading early-stage startups that we wouldn't have otherwise known about. Two, to collaborate with those startups and other Plug and Play partners to accelerate startup technologies that are solving problems that we all feel. And finally, to support the ecosystem, to be a steward for the innovation ecosystem, both in our hometown of Chicago and also for the food and beverage sector at large. And how's it going so far? It's going great. We joined Plug and Play at the end of last year as a new partner. We're really enjoying the engagement we're seeing with startups and partners thus far. Plug and Play has really expanded our scope such that now we're seeing startups across different industries and geographies that we hadn't seen before. And we're looking forward to continuing this engagement through 2021 and beyond. So thank you to Plug and Play. Thank you to the other partners. I look forward to meeting you all at the event. Bye-bye.
Hello, everyone. My name is Robert Stenikus. Since 2 years, I'm the Director of Open Innovation at ICL. I'm based in the Netherlands, where our European headquarters is located, and I've been with ICL for almost 12 years in different roles. First of all, I'd like to thank the Plug and Play team for giving me the opportunity to present here at the Spring Summit. And I'd like to give you a short introduction about ICL in general, and I'll introduce our food and crop nutrition business in a bit more detail, as well as what kind of innovations we are looking for and interested in. At ICL, we have different models for collaboration with the external ecosystem, which I'll briefly mention. And finally, I'll explain why we decided to participate in Plug and Play's food program in Chicago. ICL is a leading global specialty minerals and chemicals company that offers solutions for the food, agriculture, and industrial markets. We leverage the access we have to unique resources of potash, phosphate, and bromine, for example, the Dead Sea and the Negev Desert. But we also tap into other natural resources across the world. Our revenues were approximately $5.3 billion in 2020, and we have a strong and increasing focus on R&D and innovation to drive growth across our end markets. The ICL shares are duly listed on the New York and the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange. So we are headquartered in Israel, but ICL employs over 11,000 people worldwide with offices and R&D centers and distribution sites on all continents. As mentioned earlier, we're mainly serving the food, agriculture, and industrial markets, but our focus for growth is on the food specialties and on the specialty fertilizer businesses. Our food specialty business is supplying functional ingredients for beverage, meat, dairy, and bakery, for example. And the latest addition is Rovitaris, which delivers an innovative, diverse portfolio of plant-based meat alternatives. Our innovative ag solutions business is focused on unique specialty fertilizers with higher added value, like controlled release fertilizers, water-soluble fertilizers, or liquid fertilizers. And we have a large team of agronomists that are supporting our customers based on many years of experience. To create an impact for a sustainable future and to support the growth in the food and the innovative ag solutions businesses, we're investing over $50 million per year in R&D. and we have 20 R&D centers globally. The innovations we're looking for are for the food business, the functional ingredients, for example, natural antioxidants or texturizers. And for the specialty fertilizers or innovative ag solutions business, we're developing next generation fertilizers that allow growers to grow more with less in a more sustainable way. Obviously, we can't develop those innovations only on our own. So we're looking at collaborating with the external ecosystem also. For short-term growth, obviously, we have mergers and acquisitions, where the strategy is focused on mature companies. And 7 years ago, we've started our open innovation efforts. In this program, we are sponsoring long-term research with startups or university groups to generate proof of concepts for relevant breakthrough technologies. This is obviously geared towards the long term. And in order to cover the midterm as well, we have recently launched the ICL Planet Startup Hub Accelerator. ICL Planet will offer, amongst others, mentorship, access to infrastructure, and investments to market-ready or pilot-ready startups. We decided to partner with Plug and Play's food program because we want to become part of the ecosystem, because we would like to expand our network, learn from others, and be exposed to and connect with a constant deal flow of startups that could either fit the ICL Planet or our open innovation program. So I'm looking very much forward to meet all of you soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dan and Robert. We're incredibly excited to be working with both of you and really looking forward to what our partnership can bring. So next up is our corporate award winner. So every program we select a corporate award winner for our summit based on their success working with startups and their engagement with our program. So this year, the award goes to, drumroll please, Mars. So Mars has been a partner with Plug and Play for over 3 years, and this is their first year as an anchor partner with our food program. They have been incredibly active and engaged with our program and also expanded their partnership with Plug and Play with our global locations in Europe and China. So please welcome our incredible champion, Erin Roller.
Hi everyone, I'm Erin Roller. I'm part of our global packaging team with Mars Wrigley, and I'd like to give a huge thank you to Plug and Play for choosing Mars as this year's corporate award winner for the Spring Summit. We've been a member of Plug and Play for quite a few years now, and in that time, they've introduced us to literally hundreds of startups, many of which were relevant to our business and a few that we've even piloted with. For us, this has been an invaluable partnership over the years, so much so that this year we've extended our membership to include a few additional programs. And now I'm really excited to see what the future holds and meet even more great startups. Thank you.
Thank you, Erin. And then every program, we also select a startup award winner based on their engagement in the program and their success working with our corporate partners. Our startup award winner is, drumroll please, Peekage. It's been incredible working with Malad, Sina, and the rest of the team, and we really appreciated their engagement and contribution to the program. I also do want to give a huge shout out to all of the startups in our program. Everybody gave a great pitch today, and it's really you guys that really make our program so special. So with that, we finalize our Batch 9 Food Expo. We will now begin our networking session for the next hour. So you can head to the startup booths by clicking the presentation icon on the right-hand side of your screen. And please optimize the Meet Now feature that allows one-on-one video chats with the startups. So the green icon will show that they are available. So the startups and attendees, please turn on the Meet Now feature under your name in the upper right-hand corner. So thank you to everyone for attending, and a special thank you to all of our partners and startups for an incredible Batch 9. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to any of our team members. I hope everybody has a great rest of their day and happy networking.